when it comes to problems in our relationship. I take Rancis's approach to see someone change so quickly.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
I feel invalidated.
You are a monster.
Your values aren't aligned. This is not going to work. To try to look for where you're wrong, which is, it's very hard to do. I just wanted to go back to the story about when we were away, because that was a perfect example about like the roles and responsibilities that we argued about in that time. So the whole thing, the whole premise of that was where we were at a restaurant with Moses and his girlfriend Marina, and we were waiting for the waiter, and because Paola decided that she was going to what was it?
I'm looking at a menu. I see a couple things I like. I couldn't decide between the couple things I liked. I said, oh, I'll order this. And I said, hey, what do you think of this? Would you like to eat that? He goes, sure. He doesn't care. So I'm like, all right, you're ordering that and I'm ordering this so that I can try his food and eat my food.
Yeah.
So, all right, roles and responsibilities that we've agreed about in the past. So like the decision making of like picking something on the menu, I'll go like this with my eyes closed. The only thing that actually directs my decision behind that is like the certain restrictions that I've put on myself on what I eat. So for example, dairy is a no, right? So like right now we're not doing any carbs or anything like that. So we're gonna order that way. But the thing that's always a no is dairy. I'm never eating dairy in any form. So cheese, milk, whatever it is. So
Wait, what about no pizza?
no, we got vegan pizza. So anyways, no dairy.
I get you sometimes. I get your anger. I understand it sometimes. Yeah.
So no dairy, right? So now we have this understanding, and this is I'm gonna speak first from my perspective. We have this understanding. She'll order for both of us, and we do family style. We share all our foods, and
Oftentimes, not always.
oh yeah, and the way she posed this to me indicated this was one of those times we're going to be sharing a little bit of all of our foods. So then she orders, and what she ordered, the second place she ordered has dairy, which means I can't have any. So therefore, to me, what I heard was, hey, I'm going to order for us to share, but you can't have any of this. So I'm going to eat this plus a little bit of yours. To me, that was frustrating. This is from my perspective.
I can't wait to hear Paula's perspective, but right now you are a monster.
Yes. So this is what occurred from my perspective, and we're talking about this with Moses and Marina, and we're talking about, we're not yelling, but we're speaking sternly with each other and identifying what we perceive in the challenge.
So when Rancis says to me, what you order has cheese, I said, yeah. He goes, so you can have my food, but I can't have any of yours. And I was like, oh, you're worried about food? We can get you something else. Because to me, I'm solving the problem, which is, you want more food because I'm going to eat some of your food. Great. Let's order another plate that you can eat. And then we don't have to, it stops right there.
Yeah. I'm already on her side. Just off of that.
That was quick.
That's all she needed to say, because I'm like, that makes sense.
Because that's, to me, I view the problem as being food.
Mm-hmm.
Rancis did not have that point of view.
You got to
take his dietary restrictions into account.
It was then it became
salt on him.
Yeah.
And his dietary restrictions.
So
it's spring. How dare you?
So the man. But all right, so check this out. This part is where we talk about like the way that Moses was saying, the way that we argue. In that moment, I said, I'm not mad about the lack of food. I'm upset that I feel invalidated in this ordering. I feel like you didn't take me into account. So therefore, you're not taking your role of like ordering food and taking care of me in that sense.
Yeah.
So I expressed that emotionally.
Which then my pettiness kicked in, and I was like, you're a grown-ass person. You can order for your goddamn self. and I was already triggered because to me, what that sounded like was an accusation towards my persona of that I need to show you and take care of you. So it already had started. So whatever he said after that, I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
I was just like trying to win.
Understood. I know, I get that, and I think it goes back to what we talked about before, like when a dude expresses their feelings, just like shut up.
Yes.
Oh my god, like this is what you're gonna cry about right now? Like eat the chicken fingers and stop it.
So on the drive home, we continued this
Communication.
conversation. We were in the car and just like going at it. And I was like, that's messed up. You can't express yourself,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm here like, what the hell? Like, just eat the food. There's food. And then I acknowledged. I was like, you know what? I didn't take you, and you pointed it out. He took the moment to say, hey, this is how that made me feel. And I was like,
Baby.
but I was like, you know what? No, I'm sorry. I am.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If we do the inverse of that and I say something to that extent to him, what I would expect is an apology. And
A written letter.
no, but I would have these expectations of like, did you hear me? Did you hear what I said? Did
Yeah.
you feel where I'm coming from? And I wasn't giving him that, and I took the moment to say, you know what? That's messed up. That's not right.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. And I am sorry. I didn't mean to put him in that position because that wasn't the intent. And that, again, that's not the intent of that. But when you start questioning, and in the car, there was more questionings of, are we on the same page in our relationship? I was like, whoa.
Well,
Like,
this
it
is about
got-
food. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got something with cheese on it. My bad.
No, I mean, that triggers me more to get more fighting. Like, to me, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Right now?
Yeah.
You're questioning my commitment to our relationship? Like, it's funny, but it's not, because these are the things that we create in our heads. We end up having these conversations with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We don't share that.
Nope.
Those are the type of things that can easily be like, you know, I could have easily been like sooner, hey, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't have gotten down to like the feelings, the real thoughts that race through your head, and then we're not closer
Yeah.
because of it.
That's funny, man, because I'm thinking about Rancis's personality and how adaptable he is, but
Except
the
for his
idea that he
diet.
attaches meaning to in that moment where it's like, no, you went against all the core values in this moment, therefore you're not committed. That means you're not a part of this, is so fucking fascinating to me, because it's just like, here's this a person that is adaptable, but in this moment is so fucking strict and stern to that value that it has no shift. And then it makes you like psychologically fucks with you, because it's like, oh shit, am I showing that I'm not committed to this relationship because I ordered something with cheese on it?
Where my core values.
Like that's where, and you were saying that, I was just like, yo, Rancis does that a lot, bro. Like I'm like, you pick when you want to be strict.
You weaponize your core values? Is that what you're saying?
You know, like that's a great point. And I think it goes into like how to me, everything has additional information, and this like goes into coaching, right? I'm looking at the nuance of the way the person says the words, the way they express the thing, the way their facial expression. I'm looking at all of that to see what's the real meaning. And when it's intimate relationships, then I already have an alignment and an expectation of all these things. So when that breaks, to me, I know the overall intentions and I know all these things. So if I know all of this and it's not making sense with the action, then like, what's the deeper thing? What's the deeper thing? It's me going into like a chaotic downward spiral of like, what does this actually mean? You know? And I'm questioning it. I'm not using it to be like manipulative, but it's me going in a like downward spiral of trying to find the answer and questioning this point. Well, this point is solid here, but so it must be deeper. It must be deeper, which then leads me to say some shit like, are you committed to this relationship?
Why?
Where then I can say like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And then it brings it back to you to like, I'm like, I was literally just trying to eat. So like, I just wanted to eat.
It
Like,
wasn't personal. I promise
yeah,
you,
it
it wasn't
wasn't about
personal.
you.
It wasn't.
and,
I swear.
and I think sometimes, again, in our relationships, because we know, right, we're so sure of the other person, and that's the part where you have to continue to work at it. You're so sure of the other person that assumption becomes, that becomes the assumption.
Yeah.
And it's untrue. Like, you just have to look back and be like, what does that person really want?
It requires you to try to look for where you're wrong, which is it's very hard to do because it's just like you have to.
Especially when you're always right.
Yeah, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard. I think with my girl, I think there's also like understanding like where somebody's at, like spending a lot of time with like Rancis and you, like you kind of see these repeating patterns in people that come up. And like when I first started dating Marina, like I could see the noviceness, or the, I don't know the right word, like she was still like, if you were to separate consciousness on like 4 different levels, she was like on level 1, right?
Wait, real quick. Choose your words wisely if she watches this.
No, she'll be all right. She
Okay.
she doesn't take things personal. Like we have a she grew a lot, like in terms of that aspect, and I learned a lot from being with her. So like I've never really had, actually our arguments are very similar to how you guys argue, which to me was pretty impressive because I was like,
That's new stuff to you, isn't it?
what?
That's new stuff to you.
Well, the thing is that I take Rancis's approach into that when it comes to problems in our relationships. For I would say like 95% of the problems that Marina and I have, I take that approach. I'm like, no, let's talk about this now. And I look to ask questions. I do find myself trying to be right, but going back to what I was going to say originally, it requires you to be wrong, like look to be wrong in some way. So then that means you have to ask questions. And that comes from the skill of coaching. And I think we were at a hike one time, like we were walking, you're saying like for a relationship to work, like 2 people, like there's coaching required in that. And Marina has now, like to me, like in just a year, has become more of that, where she's able to kind of identify and ask me questions, and she looks to be curious, which is pretty interesting because you see someone change so quickly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think that a lot of people, right, struggle with that because the foundation of that is seeking to be curious, like you said, and then seeking to be wrong. Like, where are you wrong? You know, and that means that you have to understand that, like Francis, did you see that you were attaching meaning to all of that, like in that moment, or
So-
now?
You know, like when I reflect on like that thing I said about like, you know, are we in alignment in our relationship? To me, reflecting on that is like me desperately wanting to be wrong. Me saying, okay, I came to this conclusion based on my mathematics, so I'm going to say this because I need it to be wrong.
So you were being vulnerable with like
Yeah.
a shitty thought,
Yeah. Yeah. What do they call it? Intrusive thought.
an intrusive
Yeah.
thought. Yeah, and I think a lot of people like aren't willing to go into that space. Like, fucking saying like all the time, bro. It's fucking pissing me off.
After editing the last episode, I hate talking. I hate listening to myself talk.
My if I had a Starbucks coffee and a higher pitched voice, it'd be some basic white. I just think that like fucking shit. I think that a lot of people aren't willing to go into that space of showing those intrusive thoughts. They're not. Vulnerability is like one thing that has to be expressed in order for a relationship to work. And like from day one, when I spoke to, like when I first date with Maria, it was like, if you're not vulnerable, this is not gonna work. And she's like,
Whoa. They would.
That's
Yeah, like I was like,
that's an intense thing to bring up on a first date.
no,
It's
it
good.
wasn't-
No,
like, it
no, I
wasn't
know.
brought up directly.
No,
it was
no.
brought up indirectly through conversations.
Like on her porch picking her up first name.
Aren't vulnerable. But we did talk about that, and like I got her perspective on trust. I learned a lot about the values, right? Because I understand that values are what people make decisions based off of. And if your values aren't aligned, you're going to have, like, you continue that relationship, it's going to show up because the values are, the beliefs are based off your values.
Yeah.
So your behaviors are based off your beliefs.
Jason here with Mindset U, and I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for tuning in and watching us every week. Since Mindset U is taking a different approach, we need your help coming up with new topics of stuff that you want to hear so that we can give you the best quality possible and the best content possible in general. It's fun. Come on, help us out. Help us help you. Anyway, you can head over to VitoProject.com to watch any of the old episodes and any of the new upcoming episodes that are coming. You could also check us out on Instagram and on YouTube and anywhere else that you could possibly think of that you want us to be. Let us know. We'll be there. All right? Thank you so much.